What's up, guys? Justin back here with another video. So obviously with the GHB2017 officially released, I'm sure everybody has it in their hand. If you don't, what are you doing? Go grab it. It's a great book. Mine is obviously at home. I'm on the road. Figured I'd record a couple of little vlogs right here. I've been thinking a lot about some lists, and I just kind of want to talk about it. So, like I said in the first video about the Michigan GT list update, I want to talk about what other list I would bring if I would have known this was General's Handbook 2017 at the Michigan GT. If I would have known ahead of time, I'd definitely be bringing my Seraphon 100%, and I would feel way more confident in my abilities to perform really well, or perform at a higher than above average level at this tournament if I was able to bring Seraphon. And the reason is the new mega battalions. Well, one of them, the Fangs of Sotek. Oh boy, do I love that thing. All right, so what my list is going to be for whatever the next event that I go to after Michigan GT. The next event I go to, I will be bringing Seraphon, and I will be bringing probably something along the lines of the Fangs of Sotek. It's a Mega Battalion. You bring a Slan Star Master, a Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, and minimum of one Sunclaw Star Host. That's the minimum requirements. And then you can also take the... there's 4 other options for battalions to take with it, and then it has like the Stormcast thing where it says you can take any other Seraphon unit. So it makes your army, no matter what you bring, it makes your army a 1-drop. Is essentially what it does. I mean, obviously it's not literally that. You could take like a different battalion that's not listed and then blah 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 blah. But for all intents and purposes, it's meant to be a 1-drop. So I like that because I'm new to the tournament. This will be my first event. So I'm new to the tournament meta or play style or mentality. So any advantage I can take before the game starts, I'm going to take it. So let's talk about points. Seraphon just got a whole shitload of buffs. Almost everything we have got cheaper by a little bit, or got a horde bonus or something. We got 9 new command traits, 3 for a Slan if your Slan's a general, 3 if you have a Saurus general, and 3 if you have a Skink general. That's pretty fucking awesome. We've got 6 new artifacts. 2 or 3 of them seem a little under par, and the other 3 to 4 seem pretty good. I like the battle trait. You've got the Lords of Space and Time. So basically, you pick one Seraphon unit in your hero phase, and you roll a d6. On a 1, that unit stands still, nothing happens. They can't move or charge this turn. They're just stuck. On a 2 through 5, you can teleport them anywhere on the map, 9 inches out from enemies, and that counts as their movement. And on a 6, you can teleport them 9 inches out from enemies, but they can still move in the movement phase, plus charging and everything like that. So that guarantees you a 3-inch charge, and yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome. So that is pretty sick. The Slan is still 260. The Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur is 280 from 320, so that's pretty awesome because he wasn't that... The Scarvet was just outweighing him. So that's pretty awesome that he's cheaper. Very, 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 very respectable at 280. I'm not complaining about that at all, especially with some of the buffs that you can give him, and now that Slans are actually worth taking. Because before, they were only really good in open play. because they don't really have a spell like Croak to do damage. They're very much a utility piece, and the fact that they got such a hit on summoning because you have to pay for it and stuff. Ever since open place lands aren't really that great. If you're going to bring one, people are bringing Croak for the Comet. Croak is now 450, so he's pretty close to viable in my opinion. Like, obviously he's viable, but for me personally, I still think 450 is a little expensive. We'll see. I have to work out some lists. And the only reason that I'm not talking about taking him right away is because I like the 1-drop. I'm a big fan of the 1-drop. I think that's a big advantage still. I think it will continue to be a big advantage, and I don't... Yeah, we'll see. Then my list also has the Saurus Sunblood to go with the Sunclaw Starhost. He's still 120, but he's an absolute monster, so I'm not really worried about it. He's a beast. What else am I taking? So the list that I made also had 60 Saurus Warriors. Now, I'm unsure, so leave down in the comments what you guys think. It's going to be one of two things. I'm going to bring 60 Saurus Warriors because that's all I feel like painting right now. I mean, that's a lot of bodies. So I'm going to take one of two options. The Sunclaw Starhorse, you have to take 3 units of Saurus Warriors, and it gives them all -1 rend instead of no rend to their clubs or spears, which is just... It's insanely good, because now they are borderline with Saurus Guard as far as damage output. They're almost Saurus Guard with damage output. They really are. They're really close. So my options are taking 3 units of 20 and just being able to project power anywhere on the board with these units of 20, be able to capture it because of all the new scenarios like the Scorched Earth and stuff like that, where you just have 20 models and you instantly take the objective regardless of who's holding it, regardless of what's holding it, regardless of anything else. If you have 20 models and your opponent does not have 20 models, you instantly take the objective. You just have the bodies, you win. It's built for you, it's built for hordes, it's ready to go. So I'm thinking 3 units of 20 Saurus Warriors to be able to project power all over the battlefield. So if I need to teleport somebody over to the left, I teleport to the left, to the middle, to the right, wherever I need it, front, back, left, and center, I've got power to make a move. 20 Saurus Warriors with -1 rend are going to chew through a lot. It's going to be hard for people to chew through you because they ignore -1 rend because they've got Star Drake shields. They're going to be really good against hordes because obviously they have the Star Drake icon, so they're increasing bravery for everything around them. They've got a lot of attacks because of their shields. They don't really do that much, but I mean, it's still a dice. You're still going to get some of them off. Or the other option is to capitalize on the new horde benefit and take one massive regiment of 40 Saurus Warriors and then 2 individual units of 10. So the individual units of 10 are going to be kind of used like skinks. They're going to be kind of held off for screening, for teleporting into the back against my Slan, for screening against teleporting to the back to get to my Slan. They're going to kind of screen them off, defense, and then use my big block of 40 to project power. And that big block of 40 is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to chew through literally anything it touches. Not literally anything it touches, but most things it touches with -1 rend. It's 40 wounds, ignoring -1 rend because of Star Drake shields. It's just going to be extremely powerful. But that means that my 2 smaller units of 10 are not going to be able to have that much power. Oh, why don't you make those 2 units of 20 and 1 unit of 40? Well, first of all, I don't want to paint 80 models. Second of all, that's a lot of points. Because that means instead of a unit of 10 Saurus Warriors is 100 points. A regiment of 40 Saurus Warriors is 360. So right there, I'm at 560 for if I do a regiment of 40 and 2 units of 10. 760 to do a regiment of 40 and 2 units of 20 That's asinine. That's so many points. 720 points. It's a third of my army in just Saurus Warriors. And I understand that Saurus Warriors, because I'm running the Sunclaw Star Horse, the Saurus Warriors are your workhorse. I get that. But for me personally, I would rather run... I'd rather have you save those points for summoning, or for allies, or for something else like that. So basically my list is... The reason that I love this list, regardless of whether or not I settle on a regiment of 40 and 2 units of 10, or 3 units of 20... either way, because if I have a regiment of 40, I'm getting the maximum buff because I'm above 30, so I'm rerolling hit rolls, rerolling wound rolls. I can summon in or bring a Star Priest with skinkly trappings, or with Skink Priest with priestly trappings to reroll all failed save, charge, hit and wound rolls. I mean, it's just, there's so many buffs you can do, and these Saurus Warriors are basically going to be my workhorse. Now, previously, I said Saurus Guard were the shit. Like, Saurus Guard are going to do all your work, and that's what I'm going to bring, and that's what I like. I still like Saurus Guard, but the Saurus Warriors in the Sunclaw, being able to give them -1 rend, and being able to now teleport them and project power around the battlefield. I don't know. I mean, especially with I'm really looking at the regiment build where I take a unit of 40. That just seems so intimidating to play against. I feel like I'm really going to get in people's heads if I bring a regiment of 40 Saurus Guard, or Saurus Warrior, excuse me. I mean, I know somebody was cheesing and talking about, oh, I could bring three regiments of 40. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to paint 120 models. That's ridiculous. And not to mention I want to get past Battle Round 2 in my games. So that's not going to happen for me. I'm going to keep it nice. So my list is the Sun Host of Sotek is what I'm calling it. Which is like I said, it's the Fangs of Sotek Mega Battalion. Which takes a Sunclaw Star Host, Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, Slan Star Master, and then you've got some other options for battalions to bring in, but I'm not going to bring any more because they're already expensive enough. So that right there, just those 2 battalions, is only 260. So in comparison to my Stormcast list in my first video, that's 400 points in my Stormcast list for 2 battalions. In my Seraphon list, it's 260 for 2 battalions. You see the difference? It's a lot easier to work with. Not to mention Seraphon have bodies. So my list would be obviously the Slan, the Old Blood on Carnosaur, the Saurus Sunblood, 60 Saurus Warriors, which let's just say right now tentatively that I'm thinking about the regiment build. So the regiment is going to be 360 for 40 Warriors, and then 2 units of 10 to fill out the Sunclaw Star Host. So that's 560. The Sunblood is 120. I'm going based off memory here. The Slan is 260. Old Blood on Carnosaur is 280. I'm also thinking about I'll also be taking a Bastiladon, because Bastiladon is, in my opinion, an auto-include, just because we've got a 4-up ward save. It's got a 4-up regular save, or a 3-up regular save, 4-up ward save, super tanky. Arc of Sotek, always and forever. The snakes aren't worth taking. It's just a solid unit, and instead of 300, now it's 280, so that's awesome. Then what else will I be taking? That right there would take me up, I think, to 1770, and then basically I would have the other 230 points for summoning. Or I could just auto-include in my list. See, that's the thing why I just wanted to keep it at summoning, is because I'm like, okay, I could add some Ripperdactyls, because Ripperdactyls are always great. for an extra secondary punch. I could add some Saurus Guard to stand back and protect my slant. I could add an Eternity Warden. I can add an Astrolith Bearer. I can add a Skink Priest. So I think leaving those 230 points for summoning is the way to go. Balin Vortex is always obviously an option. So that's what I'm thinking about for my Fangs of Sotek list. Let me know what you guys think. First of all, would you take the... Now, granted, you only have 60 warriors to use. Would you take 3 units of 20 or a regiment of 40 with 2 units of 10? Also, just went super dark. I'm going to finish this up right now then. I'll put this up here. And then would you auto-include things like the Skink Priest or the Eternity Warden or some Saurus Guard or some Ripperdactyls, or just leave it out for summoning? Now Salamanders and Razordowns are 40 points. So, I mean, that's easy, especially for summoning pools. A cheap little 40-point thing, like a Razordown that gets stand and shoot, so it's really good chaff. And it's good for eating up like a unit of 10 or 20, like Clan Rats or Marauders or something. Like, that's going to do some damage, especially if you can summon 1 or 2, 3, 4, however many you have. I have 2 Razordowns, so being able to summon those, being able to bring, I think that is the key, is to build up a really strong list and then have a couple hundred points of summoning, at least 200 points of summoning. I've got 230. So, yeah, Croxigors are now 160. Saurus Knights are now 100, but they're still garbage. They're utter garbage. Saurus Guard are now 100, or still 100. Skinks are 80, but their regiment is 200. 200 points for 40 bodies. That is amazing. I wanted to add that to this list, but I don't really need more bodies with this list because I use my Saurus Warriors. That's why I'm thinking about the regiment of 40 to really just project power in that really big chunk. I've got the Arc of Sotek to blast people off. I've got the Carnosaur as like a secondary melee threat. And then I've got the 2 blocks of 10 Saurus Warriors for chaff, for screening, for anti-deep strike, for zoning out, because most deep strikes, they have to be outside of 9 inches of your enemy models. So as long as you have them around your slan, they can't really get in there, and they have to, chaff them up. Also, with my slan, I'm thinking about taking Great Remember, so I can teleport with the Lords of Space and Time of battle trait twice per hero phase instead of once. That's one of the Slan general command traits, so I'm thinking about making my Slan the general. He still has command ability to give something fly, so be able to give those Saurus Warriors fly, and they can literally just fly over, teleport in. If I roll the 6, or if I roll a 2 up, they can charge, so I'm looking at a 9-inch charge. But if I have a Skink Priest, that's an 8-inch charge because they get +1. If I've got... but if I roll a 6, they can move. That gives me a 3-inch charge. And then if I roll anything higher than a 3, I can just fly over the front line and go straight to the back line with 40 Saurus Warriors. That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible. Even if I use 2 packs of... That's another reason why I want to think about 2 packs of 20. Because 2 packs of 20 lets me project less power, but over bigger chunks of the board. So you know what I mean? If I have multiple threats rather than just a big block of 40 and my Carnosaur. Because right now that's my only threat if I take that regiment build. And that's why summoning is so important, because I can summon in a 3rd threat. I can summon in 1 unit of Ripperdactyls, but let's face it, I personally don't think that 3 Ripperdactyls are enough. I think if you're going to run Ripperdactyls, a minimum unit of 6 is kind of, like I said, minimum. But being able to summon in Razordowns are nice. They're really good chaff in a Horde unit, or against Horde units. Just because they have the stand and shoot, they have a shit ton of volleys, a shit ton of attacks. The Salamander's good for sniping, but I got the Arc of Sotek and I've got the Sunfire Gauntlet. I'm not really worried about sniping as much. But for 230, I can also summon in a Troglodon, which can project my Slan. And I have a really, really nice painted up Trogodon that I'm dying to use, so hopefully he's worth taking one of these days. The power to be able to get a monster and be able to project my Slan, because what the Trogodon lets you do is let your Slan sit in the farthest corner and just sit there and say, you know what, I can do whatever I want from wherever I want, especially now that Slans have the ability to unbind from anywhere across the battlefield. They have to have line of sight. You have to be able to see the enemy caster, but you can unbind from across the battlefield. So anybody trying to do Balewind Vortex shenanigans, once they get on the Balewind Vortex, let's face it, you're basically visible from the entire field up there. So the Slan being able to unbind from across the battlefield is amazing. He gets 3 spells and 3 unbinds, which is just, I mean, like, come at me, bro. Like, he's literally the greatest spellcaster. In the lore, they're the greatest spellcasters in the mortal realms. And now it kind of feels like it. The one thing that I wish still that Seraphon had is some sort of spell lore. Even if it was just 3 spells. My hair is sticking. Anyways, even if it was just 3 spells. Like, let's face it, if the generic Slan had any sort of damaging spell, even if it was just like, 3 mortal wounds or something like that, or D6 mortal wounds, or anything that's just remotely decent damage output, Croak would never see the table again. That's why you take Croak. You take him for the meteor shower. You take him for the comet's call, or whatever the fuck it is. There's no other reason to take Croak, because he's expensive as shit. 450 is still, I don't care what you say, 450 is still expensive. He's the most expensive unit in the entire army, in the entire faction. I mean, I guess he should be, because he's a badass, and he basically doesn't die, because he's the mummy, so you have to basically kill him. You have to deal 10 damage to him, which, I mean, if he's on top of a Balewind Vortex, you have to shoot him. And if you can't shoot him, you're fucked, because you can't charge a Balewind Vortex. So that's the whole thing with Croak, but then now that's 550, and he's a named character, so he can't take the command traits for being a Slan general. He can't take an artifact, and their artifacts aren't great. Like, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. The Seraphon artifacts are not S tier, in my opinion. They have a couple good ones. They have a couple solid artifacts, like the feather. They have some weird names, like the Zoetek dial. You're not gonna take that in match play, I don't predict, because it's random, and you don't want to be relying on random chance as much as you can. I mean, it's a dice game. It's always going to be random chance. But you want to cut back on that type of thing as much as possible. But I don't know. Drycha gets a lot of play, and she just got buffed to where she doesn't kill herself. She doesn't hurt herself anymore. So maybe, I mean, she was already being used a lot, so maybe I'm wrong here. But for me, that's the reason why I don't like Croak. Or it's not that I don't like Croak. Now at 450, I've got a couple lists that I'm thinking about building with Croak, but for me at a tournament, just to sit back and roll a couple dice and nuke your entire field with a couple of meteors, is it possible? Yeah. Is it fun? Not really. And it's not and also on top of that, on the most tactical level, it's not a 1-drop. Maybe it doesn't matter because you're doing so much damage, but I don't know. I still feel like having that 1-drop is a big boon to my game plan. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong thinking like that. Maybe Croak is the way of the future. Maybe I just need to get on board. But anyways, guys, that's my quick little video about the Seraphon update list that I'm thinking about. The Tales of Dracothon, it makes you take the Fire Lance, and I personally hate the Fire Lance, not because of what it is, but because, like, the buffs and stuff, that's cool. But I really don't like Source Knights. Like, I think they're garbage. They're straight utter garbage. They're slow as shit. They're not tanky. They don't deal that much damage unless you have to take... If you were to take the Fire Lance with 3 units of 10 Saurus Knights, now you're talking. But 3 units of 10 Saurus Knights, that's 600 points of little Raptor Riders to do a couple mortal wounds on the charge. Like, at that point, you might as well just spend 550 on Croak and a Vortex and get your damage that way. That's my personal opinion. If your choice between the Fire Lance, and that's not even the full Fire Lance. That's just the, you know what I mean? That's not including the old one, the old blood, or the Scar Veteran. I mean, and that's not including the actual battalion points itself. So, for me, the Fire Lance is a big miss. I don't like it. Maybe my opinion will change in the future, but for right now, I'm holding off on the Tales of Dracothion. It's really nice to be able to summon for free and not have those count towards your summoning or towards your spell casts, because that's what the Tales of Dracothion does. It gives your Slan the ability to summon you anytime you attempt to cast a spell that's summon a Seraphon unit. It doesn't count towards your number of casts that you get per turn. So it doesn't count as your 1 out of 3 spells or 2 out of 3 spells for the Slan. And on top of that, what else was the ability? I'm going purely based off memory here. But the other ability that it gives your Slan was to... you can cast the same summoning spell in the same turn. So you can cast, like, summon Saurus Warriors twice in the same turn, versus now you can only do it once or something. I think it was something like that. But for me, the Sunclaw Star Host and the Fangs of Sotek are way better, just on paper. To me, that's what grabbed my attention way more than the Tales of Dracothion Fire Lance Star Host. But that's also because it's forcing you to take the Fire Lance. If the Fire Lance was an option, and you could choose this or that, like, I would have loved it if they made that one the Shadow Strike Star. It made more sense to make that the Shadow Strike Star Host with a Slan, and then make that the Tales of Dracothion. Not that the Skinks have anything to do with Dracothion or Dracoth Riders, but just because that was already a popular one. And I know it's an option, but now you get into a lot of points to take 3 battalions. I don't think very many people are ever going to be running 3 battalions. 2 battalions, yeah, but 3 is a big deal nowadays. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm going to end it here. Let me know what you guys think. Leave comments down below, please. I'd love to talk and converse and get your theories on new Seraphon. Peace.